Good afternoon, beloved Master Tanaka. Good afternoon. I am Master Kwan Yin, and I'm very grateful to have this meeting with the Master. Having this encounter with all the beings that accompany our messages. Having this meeting with all beings who are practicing the Kwan Yin technique. The Kwan Yin technique, as I always come to bring guidance to all of you, is a practice, as you have been told, for you to exercise in all situations in your life. The Kwan Yin technique is a way to make you see in a different way, to perceive in a different way everything that is happening in your life. So, through this technique, you all make the transmutation of your own energy. You make a recognition that in your being is dwelling an energy that is present in the whole universe. It makes you realize that this energy that is in you is in all beings. So, the practice of Kwan Yin technique over time, it makes you broaden your horizons. It makes you, without realizing it, have a new perception of everything that is happening around you. I, Master Kwan Yin, realize that, I will say, an impediment to all of you, the restriction for all of you to make changes in your lives, lies in the factor that your perception of all things remains the same. That your perception has not changed during this entire course of your life. You have maintained the perceptual pattern of all things. But what I, Master Kwan Yin, guide you is that this awareness that you have held in your life, guiding you to all decisions, has always been based on illusions. These perceptions that you have of everything that occurs, that causes to make the wrong choices, is within what you call collective consciousness. And all of you who follow our messages already know that the collective consciousness is in a negative pattern. It is in low vibrations. So when your perceptions are tied to this collective consciousness, it leads you to totally distorted choices. It leads you to do choices that often harm not only you, but also the beings that are connected to your energy. That is why I, Master Kwan Yin, come to bring you this guidance, that through the constant practice of the Kwan Yin technique, you begin to change this perception that you have of everything around you. You come to realize that many of the factors that you thought to be true, that you consider correct, are illusions. And these illusions have often caused you to make wrong choices. So you see that many still fail to realize and channel the Kwan Yin technique into everything you do in your lives. This I understand because until today you were used to always using an instrument, I will say, in a unique way. Many are unable to perceive the amplitude that a spiritual technique, a spiritual instrument has. Many still fail to have this perception. But see, even if you apply the technique in all situations, it is a practice. Only through this frequent use, you will come to realize that this technique is a powerful way that you have to transform your lives. Many, of course, because they are not used to it, they will experience a slight difficulty. But you see, everything is within what you believe you can do. Everything is within what you believe you have the power to do. This is why I always request that before performing the technique, you are in high vibrations. Invoke my presence. Invoke the presence of our beloved Archangel Michael. Connect to the energy of God. Do these acts to channel all the energy that will be used through the technique into a high vibrational pattern. And you see, as you do this with a certain frequency, with the frequency that you allow yourself, you will have this expanded perception in your being. And as if it were an awakening, I will say, you will come to realize how the technique that you are performing, even in a rational way, even in a not so broad way, it starts to exert an influence in your life. It starts to show you a new way of living, a new way of being. This is the purpose of the technique, that everyone may have this possibility to transmute their being, that everyone may have the possibility to have a new way of being. You all manifest what you believe you are. So, if there are limitations in your life, it is because you believe you are those limitations. That's why transmuting this energy into your being is necessary for everyone who wishes to change what they are experiencing in their lives. As we always said, you only reflect what is inside of you. So everything that is here outside of you is everything that is inside of you. For many, these words are still incomprehensible, as many still do not want to admit that they have these limitations in their being. But you see, from the moment you know yourself, because you can only free yourself from what you recognize, from the moment you recognize that you have these limitations and manifest a sincere desire to transmute them into a truth of God, use the Kwan Yin technique. Use the Kwan Yin technique with its heightened focus, with its focus for the transformation of your being. That's why when you perform the technique, you must be in high vibrations. That's why today, I, Master Kwan Yin, am again pointing out to you how important a shift in your perception of yourself is. You may not yet be fully aware of who you are, the way you choose to be. You may not yet be fully aware, but this way of being, whether you are aware or not, it manifests. This way of being, it manifests itself continually. That's why this change for everyone who wants to raise their energy level is necessary. Because only through this freedom of belief, this freedom of conditioning, were you able to raise your energy level. So, use the Kwan Yin technique. Get used to it, because for you, everything is a habit. So get used to using the Kwan Yin technique. Make the Kwan Yin technique your way of being. And from the moment the Kwan Yin technique becomes your way, you will realize that many things that you did not perceive before, that you did not perceive, you will begin to perceive them within the truth of God. And that perception of God's truth, it will start to influence your life, because the truth always prevails. When you start to manifest the truth of God, all illusions start to dissolve. That is why we from the spiritual plane always say that God's truth always prevails. So love each other more, respect each other more. See that the practice of the Kwan Yin technique is an act of respect for yourself. It's an act of respect for your energy. With much love, with much gratitude, I say goodbye. Thank you. Thank you very much.